women are not being oppressed now.
Not being oppressed? What do you mean?
They always think they're suffering so much they don't get paid enough.
Who's being oppressed?
Women.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's play this and see what she says. Oh, we can do a guide next time. We can look at highway bias next time. Okay.
Or getting rid of all the meters, giving people the 3 hour limit to be able to walk the downtown and not have to worry persistently about having the parking authority on their backs, rushing them in and out of stores, which really hurts our economy.
Okay, what do you see as the biggest issues that will face Reading in the next 4 years?
I see the biggest issues is the barriers, the lack of attracting businesses and making them more viable in our current economy and state. It's going to be a struggle to be able.
Okay. How would you work on the businesses if say there's these companies from out of city, out of state that are holding on to really big, well-known buildings for like 20 years or more? Trying to get like millions of dollars out of it. What would you do about that? You think we should get a more hefty eminent domain program? Because we'd have to get permission from the state.
I hate to
The
say
state's in
this,
jurisdiction. But see, it's only supposed to be used for like, public roads, public facilities and stuff like that.
yeah, well, one thing for sure is that everybody's going to say they're being cheated. They're being charged too much.
Mhm.
Because a store shouldn't cost, to rent shouldn't cost, like $10,000
Yeah.
a month.
Well, supposedly some money is going to be poured into certain buildings again, using the grid zone. And as I mentioned before, it is going to tax the residents living around that building or that particular neighborhood that's focused. And then the money from the citizens' taxes are going to go to the businesses, or I guess the potential businesses. It's called Community Revitalization and Improvement Zone. What do you think of the thing?
I think it's a good idea to give them a break on rent because,
You mean businesses?
yes,
Yeah.
even so, like where I used to live,
Well, Lancaster has been, it has had its grid zone for like about 20 years. The previous recipients were Lancaster, Bethlehem, and Tamaqua, of all places. Of course, Lancaster and Bethlehem are doing the best. I would say out of those two, Lancaster is probably doing the best. I haven't really seen Bethlehem very much, but yeah, Lancaster seems to be a model community, and everywhere I see all these, market value apartment complexes and stuff that I could never afford, but they're filled up really quickly because I guess people want to come down from New York City, right? Or Philly.
I think that people in New York City get subsidies that they have more political clout for some reason.
Right, but the thing is, you could still potentially, if you wanted to, commute from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, using train to go to New York City, as long as you left early enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with post-working. Let's just say work below that's not expensive executive treatment, but the little guy.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to commute to like Baltimore or DC within a decent amount of time, like to work there from Lancaster Station?
Maybe in 100 years.
Oh, really?
The trouble is you've got poor grades there, And,
I mean, by training, yeah.
Yeah, training doesn't always work either because.
But yes, I know there was supposed to be a trolley line that used to go right through the center of Lancaster County, all the way down to the bottom and into Maryland. And like on the Google Maps, you can still see like sort of like the remnants of the terrain that used to have the tracks on it. Now, of course, as to why they got rid of something like that, I don't know why.
It might be partly because they can't afford to do too much subsidies, and and too little, like,
I think there should be a train station for every single town that's like at least 5,000 in population.
uh, it's partly they're unrealistic about it.
Well, I mean, if you look at a system like Germany, I mean, they have, you know, a train every half hour for like really small towns. I mean, like, you know, Eberbach, which is Ephrata's sister city. I mean, it has that sort of thing. And I think it had maybe like only about twice the population of Ephrata or something like that. But like every town pretty much has a train station in it, in Germany, and it runs like 24/7. I mean, every town that's definitely a town, you know, that's not considered, I don't know, rural delivery or whatever their equivalent is.
Yeah,
And of course, you know, they have like electric trains too and stuff. Just a whole lot of modern stuff. Hey, you know what? Latin America, who doesn't even work with like Google or Apple Maps, they have really good trains. I think they've got to have like maybe like 8 different train lines in Mexico, and then there's you know, like a Buenos Aires metro in Argentina. I can't remember exactly all of them, but like it's supposed to be like really good.
They unfortunately they kill some of their own people.
Whoa! We were talking about railroads. How do we get to killing people or war or anything like that?
Well, let's look at some examples.
You're saying that railroads that were built by the United States in other countries have to do with colonialism. You're talking about the plot of The Last Samurai. Oh, and by the way, there was this Japanese martial artist named Sumiko Nagano, and she posted like the full story of whatever that invasion was where they killed all of the samurai. And I jokingly put, I thought it was just Tom Cruise that was doing the invasion all by himself. Because technically, I mean, him as a samurai is a cultural appropriation because he's white. I mean.
It's very unrealistic.
Yeah.
But what does happen, even happens in isolated cases that have just trying to be as efficient as possible, like Hitler was. They forget that, you know, like religion and other things. People be human, you know.
Yeah, we were talking about passenger rail though. Like, do you ever remember if there was a train line going out of Reading that possibly went through, say, Bern Township or Jefferson Township, any of those ones around Blue Marsh? Was there ever a rail going up that way, like following the 183? No.
No, not. Well, they used the ones in Reading. What the Reading Railroad?
Oh.
They used the Reading Railroad. If they wanted to go to 183, they probably have to take the Reading track, you know.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be bad.
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, the tracks that we're hoping that Norfolk Southern will eventually let go of are the ones that have that really high bridge running alongside of the West Shore bypass. The only problem with that bridge is that some of it does not have sides on it, so somebody would actually have to build sides on it before it could become safe for bikes and pedestrians.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it might just be so old that it might even need some reconstruction. I don't know what kind of, you know, building and trades laws govern, railroad bridges, but it must be pretty hefty because it must involve the federal government. Huh? Oh, and by the way, there's currently no way to get from the Glenside neighborhood directly to the Schuylkill River Trail because the road that's going through Carpenter Technology is blocked off. It's only for company use now. They used to let kids use it to go to school, but now the neighborhood's cut off and bikes and pedestrians are of course not allowed on the Warren Street bypass, for that mile or so until you.
That's really the thing that the most efficient people are saying, like,
Mhm.
we want that, we'll let you have some little part of it just to
Mhm.
look like we're not discriminating, but we are discriminating
Yeah.
in reality. And
Mhm.
the problem, look at, we have great resources, natural resources,
Mhm.
but you get things that you can't control. It should get better every generation, but it's not going to. If it's more expensive, it's usually not going to go.
Well, the thing is, see, they figured that out. Like, of course, since like 1981, they've been looking for another way to, start up the running line again. And so the thing is, of course, they're gonna do it probably, but they needed a bigger partner than SEPTA. SEPTA could not give Reading a regional rail system like Philly. And besides that, they were only just going to do the Schuylkill Valley Metro. But the thing is, they didn't have enough pull, to get all the grant money or the loans or to pay back the loans, so that or to match the grants or whatever. Yeah, and then of course now we have like Infrastructure and Jobs Act combined and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now they think they can do it. But the thing is, if they figure they're going to have a lack of money sometime, Amtrak is the most reliable partner, to see through a time of very skinny amounts of money, if you will.
Just think how many, when you had the COVID, you lost pretty good mega amounts of people,
Yeah.
and it's sad truth, but when people die, it's usually
Well, speaking of death, when you were living in Reading, what people do you remember that died who were like really prominent? I think I might have asked you like about some of the mayors before, or maybe like how the city looked different back then, if you remember.
Well, Mr. Goskov was probably the most successful part.
Yeah.
Intense, working and efficient person.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, was he accessible? I mean, do you ever remember, like, passing by him in a crowd or something like that?
No, he mostly do him by his works. Yeah. Jesus.
But the thing is, he would directly oversee the operations of the main boss house, wouldn't he? All right, let's fetch some information here. All right, here we go.
Boskov, September 22nd, 1929 to February 10th, 2017, was a prominent American businessman and philanthropist, best known for his longtime leadership of Boskov's department stores. Here's a summary of key aspects of his life. Boskov's department stores. He played a crucial role in expanding Boskov's into a major regional department store chain. He served as the company's chairman and CEO, and even returned from a brief retirement to lead a successful buyout that rescued the company from bankruptcy in 2009. Boskov's is the largest family-owned department store chain in the United States. Early life and education. He was born in Reading, Pennsylvania, to immigrant parents. He graduated from Reading Senior High School and Drexel University. He also served in the Navy during the Korean War. Philanthropy and community involvement. Boskov was known for his commitment to the communities where his stores were located. He was involved in various initiatives aimed at revitalizing downtown areas. He founded and led the nonprofit Our City Reading, Inc. Legacy. He was highly regarded for his business acumen, his dedication to his employees, and his philanthropic efforts. He left a lasting impact on the retail industry and the communities he served. I hope this information is helpful.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's really,
What did he do as far as revitalizing downtown areas?
well, he built, when you build companies like,
So you're saying he theoretically could have went to planning commission and said, I'm going to do like improvements on the sidewalk, improvements in the whole neighborhood, stuff like that.
it doesn't always happen exactly that way.
Mhm.
What he did was build, actually have contracts to build it, build the structures, and he knew the way to do business and by selling retail is much different than if you have a cement factory or
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
I know we have a lot of those kinds of things in Reading.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of manufacturing. Do you remember anything about the Glengarry Brick Company? Or the Reading?
To say one more thing about Augusta, he was a type like Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno, and he can bring tremendous amounts of money into building a stadium or whatever. Well, Boscov's was like that too.
Yeah.
He knew how to treat people nice and professionally. And, when I went there for a suit, it was like a movie or something. The way I was a typical retailer, they try everything on and personal service. And then you compare that with what's the other one? Costco is one big company. These big cookie cutter companies, they'll do dirty spy tactics, like they'll make a deal with China to put your price, it's the old bait and switch, and put your price real low for 6 months. Then we'll give you the whole kingdom,
Yeah.
because we'll be able to put everybody in America out of business and sell for very, actually very expensive things, prices that are no good for our country, and that's why Trump is doing well, because the people that were totally liberal in prices and all, they realize that they can't go on this way of China taking over everything. And it's not just China's.
Yeah. Okay. So So let me give you some background information on some other things. Okay. Uh, hmm. Yeah. All right. So let's start with the Glengarry Brick Company.
Glengarry is a well-established and respected manufacturer of brick products. Here's a breakdown of key aspects. History and reputation. Glengarry has a long history in the brick manufacturing industry, dating back to 1890. They are known for producing high-quality brick products. Glengarry is part of Brickworks. Product diversity. They offer a wide range of brick products, including extruded brick, molded brick, glazed brick, thin brick veneer, pavers, handmade brick. This extensive product line caters to various design preferences and construction needs. Applications. Glengarry bricks are used in both residential and commercial construction. They are suitable for exterior and interior applications. Their products contribute to the aesthetic appeal and structural integrity of buildings. Design and aesthetics. Glengarry emphasizes design flexibility, offering bricks in various colors, textures, and sizes. They provide options for achieving both traditional and contemporary architectural styles. Quality and standards. Glengarry products are manufactured to meet industry standards. They place a high value on craftsmanship. In essence, Glengarry is a significant player in the brick industry, recognized for its diverse, high-quality products and commitment to design.
Okay. Do you remember anything about them in particular?
Yeah, we lived
Mm-hmm.
for several years right next to the smokestacks of Glengarry
Oh, okay.
and Park Avenue, Park Road. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
area.
Mhm.
Well, what happened was after about 10 years there, so right next to where I'm missing, were very good sales area, and where they're building nice buildings
Yeah.
with fancy bricks. Most of them were Toon and Jensen. Remember, they built that whole area residentially, but they also built almost all brick structures, and the residential apartments and all were just brick then. And then they were that okay, but then the next thing, when you have a manufacturing thing that you're trying to develop.
Yeah. A procedure. What kind of materials are we talking about?
We're talking about cement and brick and base the big thick.
Oh, are you talking about like that cold cracker thing that sort of like mixes the components of the cement? What it mixes like lime and like the other chemicals?
Yeah, actual cement making factories too, but
Yeah.
I didn't mention it because there are
Yeah. Let's
even
look
though
at
there's okay, you can say the cement.
what's involved in making
Steel structure cement.
Oh,
In
okay.
other
All right.
words,
You want
cement
to
and
look at
steel mixed together, rebar they call it.
Okay.
And they build the base of the
Yeah.
building of they make it out of.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see if well, you want to try it, and then I'll play with this guy here.
Okay, they make the rebar and the cement base of structure, where it's laid flat across. And then you usually have basements, which you don't have in other states. They had a better Okay, let me just do this part.
You want me to play what I got and then see if you,
Well, let me do a little bit more.
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Until, for you to be a success in building and renting and all that stuff,
Mhm.
manufacturing, you have to, you know,
Here, let me,
you have to have the raw materials near this towns,
oh, okay.
and so they would also give
So are,
they're sort of like bribes, but they're not bribes because
mhm.
they're legal, you know.
Are you saying like, say, a form of consideration, if you will? Like, someone can make a bid on a property or something like that, and then they have to, do something, they have to put up some kind of bond to prove to the city that they can actually, complete the building project?
Yeah,
Especially if
there's
it's
a lot
like
of
one of those larger,
there's a lot
whole
of gray
neighborhood.
areas that seem sometimes they're a little illegal.
Mm-hmm,
But for example, another well, sometimes even big companies can get gypped.
yeah,
They usually try to pick a place where there's not too much complaining about their pay or
yeah,
people who don't come to work. They try to avoid those towns. You can find towns in the United States that are everybody shows up at work. Everybody goes,
yeah,
60 miles an hour.
yeah.
Everybody obeys
Mhm.
what they say, even if they don't
Yeah.
like it.
So do you find Reading to be a very orderly town, if you will? Do you think we should go back to the reporting, or do you think we should look up some of these other businesses now?
Okay.
I think we should go back to the reporting for now, just to get a little bit more ideas, generally stuff.
Able to
Okay.
do that. In addition to that is addressing the issues with the properties that are blighted, bringing them up to par and working with the current property owners, not removing them from those owners because they're tax.
Oh yeah, good point. That's the thing. See, what the city usually tries to do is if somebody's trying to improve their building, the city usually gives them a stop work order. And the thing is, and then of course somebody's living in there, but they can't afford new work, and then their building gets condemned, then they get displaced, and then basically it seems like that building is just handed over to somebody else. I mean, although it does take a much longer time.
Yeah, well,
And then, of course, like the different commissions that they've had trouble communicating with each other. Like, for example, there's a standard operating procedure for planning commission to talk to the blighted property committee, but essentially it's not exact. So they sort of just wing it, if you will, with some general principles.
yeah. Okay, let's see.
Do you remember Reading Redevelopment Authority at all?
Yeah, they
What kind of properties did they have? Did they have any of the big ones, or did Alan Schumann pick them all up, or somebody similar, or somebody from out of state? Do you remember?
You have the same thing in Philadelphia. You have a lot of empty houses.
Right, but I mean like big buildings. I mean buildings with like 20 floors and stuff like that. I mean with like really stately etchings on them, like like carvings of like eagles and ancient symbols and stuff like that.
The only
Things with
ones
like
that-
radio towers on top. Like Watt Shannon building in Lancaster.
Yeah, I think they did more practical stuff to the buildings, except the high rises that they want to make appeal to a certain type of
Yeah.
leadership.
Do you remember? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, they sometimes get big profits.
Yeah.
They have to get big profits if they're going to put these fancy things on. I think they overdo it, but Philadelphia is the type of place that when you see all the big cities with
Mhm.
skyscrapers
Yeah. Well,
in a very like it's almost like the Tower of Babel, you know.
yeah. The other thing is they have to consider the shadow. They have to consider the impervious
effect.
area. They have to consider the runoff.
The wind effects are big.
Yes.
In some tight.
But now see they have a stricter like stormwater regulation than they used to. I don't know when they started like the MS4 qualifications, but I think that came from the EPA. I can check it out really quick. When did EPA MS4 stormwater begin? There we go. Let's see.
EPA's Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4, stormwater program unfolded in two distinct phases. Phase 1, 1990. This phase targeted larger municipalities. It required medium and large Mississippi 4S, generally those serving populations of 100,000 or more, to obtain National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDES, permit coverage. So the beginning of the Phase 1 program was in 1990. Phase 2, 2003. This phase expanded the program to include smaller municipalities. It required small Mississippi 4S in urbanized areas to obtain NPDES permits. Phase 2 became effective in 2003. Therefore, the MS4 stormwater program began in 1990 with Phase 1 and was expanded in 2003 with Phase 2.
Okay, yeah, I also want to get this too. Tell me about Clean Water Acts in Pennsylvania. Okay. Yeah, so this is really interesting too.
When discussing Clean Water Acts in Pennsylvania, it's essential to distinguish between the Federal Clean Water Act and the state-level legislation that complements it. Here's a breakdown. Federal Clean Water Act. The foundation of water quality regulation in the United States is the Federal Clean Water Act, CWA. This act sets the basic structure for regulating discharges of pollutants into U.S. waters and establishes water quality standards. It gives states, like Pennsylvania, the authority to implement and enforce its provisions. Pennsylvania's clean water efforts. Pennsylvania has its own set of laws and regulations that work in conjunction with the federal CWA. Key aspects include the Clean Streams Law. This Pennsylvania law plays a significant role in protecting the state's waters. It aims to preserve and improve the purity of Pennsylvania's waters to protect public health, aquatic life, and various water uses. It is the state's main law that protects the waters of the Commonwealth. Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. The DEP is the state agency responsible for implementing and enforcing clean water regulations. They oversee programs related to water quality standards, permitting, monitoring, and enforcement. Key regulatory areas. Pennsylvania's regulations cover areas like wastewater discharges, stormwater management, dam safety and waterway management, protection of wetlands. In summary, Pennsylvania's clean water efforts involve a combination of federal mandates from the Clean Water Act and state-specific laws and regulations, all enforced by the Pennsylvania DEP.
Interesting. Yeah. So, what do you think?
I think probably we should publicize it a little more because I don't think most people know about the
Oh yeah, yeah.
little parts of it.
Oh, by the way, I found stuff that have to do with water dredging. If we wanted to like expand the Schuylkill River, like maybe deeper.
River dredging in Pennsylvania is legal, but it's subject to a complex web of regulations at both the federal and state levels. Here's a breakdown. Key regulatory considerations. Federal regulations. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, plays a significant role, particularly concerning navigable waterways. Section 404 of the Clean Water Act and Section 10 of the Rivers and Harbors Act of 1899 often come into play. These federal regulations aim to protect water quality and ensure that dredging activities don't negatively impact navigation. Pennsylvania state regulations. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, is the primary state agency involved. Pennsylvania's Clean Streams Law and Chapter 105 regulations govern activities that impact waterways and wetlands. Permitting is often required, and the DEP focuses on minimizing environmental impacts. Specifically, there are regulations regarding the removal of sediment from reservoirs and ponds. Permitting. Whether or not a permit is needed and which permits are needed depends heavily on the scale and location of the dredging project. Factors like the size of the waterway, the volume of material to be dredged, and the potential impact on aquatic life and wetlands are all considered. Environmental concerns. Dredging can disturb sediment, which may contain pollutants. It can also disrupt aquatic habitats and impact fish and wildlife. Regulations are in place to mitigate these potential impacts. In essence, dredging is permissible, but it's not a free-for-all. Multiple layers of regulation exist to protect Pennsylvania's waterways. Anyone considering dredging should expect a permitting process and must adhere to environmental protection standards. To get definitive answers regarding a specific dredging project, it's crucial to contact the USACE and the Pennsylvania DEP directly.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So
I did research that before. I wonder if you can grab it from my email. Look for, okay, so analyze my emails in Gmail addressed to
but you can imagine how the federal regulations are, the state regulations that require a lot of permits, you know. Federal regulations are more detailed.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm in the wrong account. That's why. Okay, analyze. My emails to Bethany Fisher in Gmail. Has to connect to Workspace. This might be a lot.
Yeah. The more the population grows,
Yeah,
the more the regulations probably have to
yeah.
grow with it and
Mhm.
keep it from,
Yeah.
I mean, overly complicated. Shutting down some systems to